Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Spaceboy universe. I know it's a little off putting not having the little jingle and the video at the beginning. Still working on that technical issue, but by all means, eventually, someday over the rainbow, we will get that back together. And at the very least, I have music that will lead into the intro of the show. I know I miss it terribly just because I wrote it and I like the pumped up music that gets me in the groove of things. And, we might even do a beta test to see if I can actually get it going here tonight. The lovely Solana has the night off, and it's just you and me and a couple of friends over the airwaves through the interwebs, and we're just going to do what we can. I see that K28 has made it. Welcome, K28. Space Cadet K28 is in the house. I believe he's over there on YouTube watching the channel. And we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. And, I haven't checked D Live yet, real quick. Let me do that while we're doing this just to make sure all my ducks are in a row. Quack, quack. Let's see here. Following. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do my channel. Yeah, it looks like no, maybe I'm not sure. It could be that it's rolling over on D Live, but it is what it is. But hey, let's make a quick announcement. Get some news out of the way. Eventually, um, the Spaceboy universe is going to be exclusive on Odyssey, and it's a platform that does video. And good, no robotic voices. I hope, Kay. Although the robots are cool. Um, Eventually, we're going to make the big move over to Odyssey, and if you go to Odyssey and look for, I believe it's the SBU network that you might have to search for. I haven't checked it recently. But on the Odyssey, you'll see a lot of our content is already there available. I'll use DLive to do some game. That is awesome. Case report that there is no robotic voice. So that's most excellent. I'm glad to hear that. No telling what that was, but yeah, getting back to us, you'll know when you get to Odyssey because their mascot of all things, and I think it's appropriate, is a astronaut. And so the nice tie-in with our show, the astronaut theme, kind of goes hand in hand, and it is a way of creator going that way. And so this creator, I don't want to be limited to what I can say, and YouTube is censoring stuff left and right. Um, it really frustrates me beyond belief because, yes, well, I believe there is an Odyssey, ODSYEE. If not, I went to the Odyssey site and created a shortcut onto my phone, and I'm doing it that way. But I think there is an app for that. Um, when you get a chance, just check your app store and see if it's available. And all the ducks will fall in line, and the heavens will align for you, and you'll have some more Spaceboy universe to listen to. And but like I was saying, D Live will probably make that our gaming channel. I've got a lot of stuff to game. Um, Not too long ago, I bought a Retcon, which is a hardware emulator for different devices. I have one for the Atari 2600. I also have one for the Nintendo NES. And I've gotten several games that I would just love to just, bust a groove on and play it for y'all guys and, pop up the chat and play and go back and forth with my audience and see how that goes because I love gaming, especially retro gaming. It's hard for me to get into the modern stuff. Probably because I'm an old man. I admit it. I turned 52 this year, and just putting that in perspective in my head just blows my mind. So, yes, well, let me tell you, Jay, it's ODYSE. So ODYSE. That should be the name of the app if it's there on the App Store. Um, Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm looking forward to doing gaming. It's something I've enjoyed as a kid, and hopefully I can transfer that enthusiasm into into a, I guess, a show, if you will. I'm really trying to get away from Twitch and um, YouTube, just for the simple fact on YouTube. I'm a big fan. When you look at the breakdown of what we started the show as, um, part of that was history, gaming, fringe, music, pop culture, and technology. I really love history, but in this day and age, it's hard to do a history show without being pinged by YouTube because they're trying to censor and erase history, if you will. And we must not forget about history because we're doomed to repeat it if we don't learn from it. That's why it's so important to me to do shows on history. And we've done quite a few good shows, and thanks to my co-producer and the lovely Sirlana, we've gone through the gamut of different shows, bringing light to great women of history, um, Senator McCarthy and the Red Scare and stuff like that. Very interesting and relevant topics of today, and very frustrating when you can't get that out without being censored in some way. And of course, when you get into the fringe topics, it's hard pressed to not go over conspiracy theories, and it's hard to do a show like that on YouTube without them censoring. So eventually, like I said, we'll make that big move to there. It'll help out a lot of ways to create better shows. Like I said, right now it's very limited, and that's why I kind of started doing the Facebook broadcasts. Still got to be careful on Facebook. They'll throw you in jail. But for the time being, this is a great way to reach the space cadets because we can broadcast the show directly to that page that Space Cadet K28 created. And we appreciate you for creating that page, even though, like I said in the past, that Sir Lana and myself kind of took it over to add stuff to it and kind of boost it up. But every once in a while, if you're not too fast in life, you'll notice a post from K28, which is always nice. And it's all good. Hey, do you know anybody that wants to hang out with us? Spread the news that the universe is rebuilding, and it's going to be kind of a different point from here on. Solana is not going to always be here for us, but she's there in spirit, and I'm sure she'll listen to the shows to see how we're doing and struggling. It is. Hey, how about a little update on Health Watch? All right. So I went to my neurologist doctor and found a little weakness in my hands and my legs. And so I've scheduled an MRI. Well, actually, I've got two coming up on May 10th, where they're going to scan my lower back lumbar region and my neck region. And hopefully it'll be positive. Even if it's not, I'm ready to accept what I need to do. I think they also want me to try some physical therapy and see if that works out. Ooh, and it is what it is. Now, I don't know if I've explained this before. I have trouble walking long distances. It just tires me out completely. So I took the initiative, and I've got this new scooter. It's called an AirHawk. It's basically a chair, but it's motorized, and the thing really gets up and goes. Pretty awesome, and got to do a test today because we ran to Lowe's to pick up some more bathroom fixtures to fix the last bit of the puzzle that we've had from our pipe explosion here at the house. The nice thing is that we've got Solana hooked up with some nice um, things. We replaced the toilet. It was old. It was probably about as old as his house, almost 50. And she got her sink replaced and the faucets, that is. And so the only thing left is her shower that needs to be fixed. And once that's happening, I'm sure she'll be a happy camper. We got some nice, shiny faucetware that looks good, and she's really pleased. And I'm happy. If she's happy, I'm happy. You know that old happy wife is a happy life. And but yeah, so like I said, I got the that wheelchair thing. I also purchased a new recliner that I was having some trouble getting out of my old recliner, and this one's really nice. It kind of has a mechanism. I call it that it'll launch you into space. It has a motor on the bottom that can levitate the chair up to a point where I fly out of the chair, and which is really nice. It has a vibrating massage therapy in the chair. It says it has a heat sensing thing where it can warm your body up, but I've tried it a couple times and that doesn't seem to work. But another cool thing, being the techno file that I am, is it has a USB port on the side of the chair, so I can charge my phone while I'm sitting there on my chair, and which is really nice. And so really cool stuff. Um, I don't want to scare anybody. I am getting older, and I've burnt the candle on both ends, especially during the '90s and in my 20s. And but hey, we all grow old, and we become okay. I don't know what's going on outside. Hold on just a second here. Sorry, I didn't know where that noise was coming from, and I asked. Yeah, Solana's checking on it for me. There's some kind of Are there kids out there or what? Apparently, they're I guess neighbor kids outside. I know. I think they're throwing some kind of party. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you hear noise, please don't fret. There's no police here, no ICE, no immigration coming to pick me up. You might hear a cat scream every once in a while, and that was Solana off in the distance. You want me to say anything to the audience? I can't hear you. Mm. So I have to give it up to Solana. She has been really working her tail feathers off to take care of me, which is a wonderful wife, and she's definitely a keeper. You know, I had purchased some perfume for her birthday, and she finally got it today. She's saying she smells fantastic, and I'm happy that she's happy. She didn't realize that she was getting the big bottle of perfume, and I earned great brownie points today. So um, I had a conversation with Solana, and I might have brought this up last week, so please forgive me because sometimes my brain farts and then I forget of all reality. And I've slept since then from our last program. But the frustrating thing I was having was, when I read all these abduction reports about people getting abducted and they proclaim gloom and doom, what really gets me is that you have the person turn around and say, "Well, why don't you help us?" And then they take this attitude. Sorry, we could be. It's kind of like they have this prime directive that they can't interfere with us. Um, I think it's frustrating that why give us the sap story of this is what your planet's heading towards if you don't change your ways. Well, by doggone it, well, help us out. Help us correct our issues. I mean, um, is it you can't get involved because of the reptilian angle, or are there other alien species out there that are telling you can't get involved? You will destroy you. I don't know. I think it's just a bunch of BS. It gets to the point where I get frustrated over the topic of the alien agenda in general. You know, and then you wonder if given a chance to meet aliens in person, would you do it? I don't know. There is a part of me that would love to you know, I guess see an alien. I mean, I guess I'd have to build up a tolerance, if you will. You know, see it and then make a step and then get a little closer. And then over time try to desensitize me towards the image that I have about aliens in general as being the bad guys. But of course, I went to I know this is terrible to say, but I went to a fortune teller once, and she said, "Do you have any questions?" And one of the questions that I asked was about the aliens. What are these things? And what really kind of tripped me out is that she came right back, didn't hesitate, and said, "These aliens are demons." And so that always weighs heavy in the back of my mind that these are fallen angels that have their own agenda. And um, yeah, so that is definitely something, part of the alien conspiracy that really like, probably not half as bad as what they think is coming out of CERN, tapping into a universe that has these monsters, and they're just waiting to break through the portal at CERN. I say portal, I know that CERN is a collider, and but some of the interesting things that you find or read about CERN, like Shiba being a statue out there in front of the building, and I don't know, just some strange stuff out there. Well, it is a strange universe. I guess that's why I live in it. Now I'm taking a pause here for a little drink here. Thanks to Live not having a secondary broadcaster with me, so bear with me. Hmm. Let's see here. Let me look up my. Bear with me as I look through some notes here real quick. I read an article about Elon Musk talking about there will be some deaths involved with going to Mars. It's an inevitability. I guess you got to figure in the cost of going to um, space. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I wished I had been more prepared, but where is it that I posted that? That was a really interesting article about a black hole that's close to our part of the solar system, close to Earth. I don't think it's right side back or right outside our Earth and going to gobble us up, but just the idea of a black hole in our neighborhood possibly gobbling us up is disconcerting. Lord knows, I'd hate to die that way, being sucked into a black hole. Hey, were you able to find Odyssey in your app store? All right, long pauses are never good. Still looking for. Oh, yeah, we could talk about that. Let's see here. So recently on Friday, got busy and watched some movies and Netflix. And one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy, I love animation. And on Netflix, there is a new thing, Netflix, Sony thing called The Mitchells versus the Machines, which was pretty good. I liked it. It was enjoyable. Not to spoil too much, there is a dog in the movie that it's a pug, and his name is Munch. And a very funny. I always love the way movies play pugs. As some of y'all might know, pugs have a terrible way of looking at you. Their one eye is looking the other way, and the other eye is looking the opposite. And it opens up where the mother's trying to help Munch try to focus his eyes, and he tries so hard, but then they ping back. The thing is about a daughter who wants to go to film school, and she's very talented, and her dad doesn't want her to go and fail and be miserable for the rest of her life. And as you watch the movie, you find out a little bit more about the dad and what a sacrifice he made for his daughter. Um, it's a cute movie. If you got kids, I think that the kids will enjoy the movie. Um, it's really a good animated CG movie. It's by Sony, and so one thing it reminded me of because it's from the same company is the if you've seen the Amazing Spider-Man, some of the uh, some of the graphics are like taken from the Amazing Spider-Man, which is not a bad thing. The show, like I said, was very fun, upbeating. I don't even know if that's a word. Upbeat, and so I would recommend it if you get a chance to watch it. Go ahead and do it. Amazon Prime has a new movie from the Tom Clancy um, series of movies or books or whatever. And I think, oh God, what's his name? He played Creed in Rocky, and he it's basically starts off where this group of Russian hitmen take out his wife, and she's pregnant, and it's one of those I'm going to get revenge. I don't care what happens. I'm going to take down whoever initiated this thing and deal with it with extreme prejudice. So pretty decent movie. Not that I'm a big fan of Bad Robot, but fortunately there was no solar flares in the film where it blinds you in the camera. It was just a straight up good movie. A lot of action, a lot of um, machine guns. It's to say it's a guy movie is probably close to what this movie would have been. Um, and but I highly recommend it. If I can figure out what the heck was it, and I'm struggling to get the dang app up. Okay, here we go. I promise next week. Actually, that's a good segue. Next week, it's called Without Remorse. Michael B. Jordan is the actor's name, and really good movie, and highly recommend it. Going back to the Mitchells, I wanted to bring out there was no agenda in the movie. It was a straight up family come together, love each other, and it's just hard to find good movies like that. And I surely highly recommend it. Another thing, let's see here on the recommendation list. I downloaded or purchased Willie's Arcade or something like that. It's another movie by Nicolas Cage where he has to stay the night and clean up this like a Chuck E. Cheese. Well, it's more closer to like a Five Nights of Freddy, and in the sense that it's definitely a horror, and that's a good movie, and you should check that out. after I give it a review. Don't want to dump you into something going from a kiddie movie to something that's rated R, and I'd rather give you my update before you sit down and watch it with your kids or something. Is it definitely Nicolas Cage is not definitely a kids movie. So all right, it's okay. You taking down the now. So one video game in history that always struck me as interesting is ET. And a lot of gamers out there blame that particular um, game as what ruined the industry, and that's not necessarily so. I think the game is hard, and games should be hard to some degree, but it's not as hard as some games I've seen that like thrown out the window. But ET, my honest opinion about it is it's a challenging game, and when I had it as a youngster, it gave me hours of playtime. And really, isn't that what you want in a game? Hours of playtime, a little bit of a challenge, and something that is based around a movie that you enjoyed. That always strikes me as a pretty good game. And so, but you've got others out there that probably feel like it's a crappy game and you're constantly getting attacked by these FBI agents. And but at the end of the day, I have to give it a thumbs up. It's just a good Atari 2600 game that really got the bad end of the stick and got blamed um, for the destruction of the gaming industry back in the early 80s. And I don't blame that game for destroying the state of gaming back in that early 80s. I blame executives that didn't know what the heck they were doing, and I'm not saying Bushnell was the issue. When they sold off their company, the Atari 2600, Atari sold off their company in general to CBS. Then the CBS executives didn't know what they were doing, and pretty much face planted their face into the ground. And I really think that the reason what they did was they were trying to, they saw all this emergence of computers coming up and wanted to somehow take their customer base into doing computers, and which offered a better way to maximize games in a way, if you think about it, more processing power with the arcade games and things like that on their computers. They'd have better games, bigger profits. So they were blinded by the profits. And maybe CBS paid a little too much for the acquisition of Atari, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I really don't blame Bushnell and Atari for selling out. Hey, they made the money. They. I think that's just the greatest thing next to Swiss cheese is that you create something out of nothing, and then somebody wants to buy it for billions or millions, and you make a profit off of what you created. I mean, if you wanted to continue on making stuff, I'm sure you could under a different label, but for Atari. And in fact, people are still making games out there for the Atari 2600, even for, I believe, the NES games too, as well, as homebrew games. It's amazing what some of these homebrew games have done for the older systems like the Atari 2600 and the NES that you couldn't that were possible. I recently watched a thing on the creation of it'll come to me. Give me a second. The mascot for or semi mascot for PlayStation. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, Crash Bandicoot. When they were creating that game, they were struggling to find a way to maximize their input into creating the game better. and so they were able to take on parts of the memory that wasn't being used properly and um, feed the game little bits at a time so that they could get what they wanted graphically wise. And it turned out to be a super game as we uh, whoever had a PlayStation and was able to play it. I know I love playing Crash Bandicoot. In fact, I recently downloaded the Crash Bandicoot for from Steam, and of course, I got to make sure I'm playing it on the right computer, or otherwise, it just can't handle it on a regular computer, which is my office computer over on the other side of the office here, studio. But yeah, ET thumbs up. Um, Recently, I've been going through a phase where I've been download or buying some classic NES games that I enjoyed as a kid. I recently went through eBay, bought a couple of games that weren't working, and there were some nice, fine people on eBay that were willing to send me another version or a copy of the game, and it works perfectly fine. I told one lady that had sold me a game that it's this game is over 30 plus years, and it's probably on its death leg, and it's time to put it to bed. But they do have multi-carts out there, meaning that has a lot of the games that you can get individually onto one cartridge, which is nice. I have one of those cartridges. There's another one that's out there that has a lot of other games out there that for around $20 to $30, you can get over 500 games on one cartridge. Speaking of over 500 games on one cartridge, I recently got bit from buying something on Facebook. Yep, I never thought I'd see the day where I was getting old and senile to the point where I would buy something and get scammed. It was a bait and switch. I was looking to buy one of these cool emulators that plays just a whole bunch of games, and eventually it led me to buy another one, and we'll see when it comes in. I should be getting it sometime this coming week. I look uh, there's arcade classic games. I wanted to play the arcade classics. Would be Turbo Time or what was the other one? Oh, it plays some games from Sega, and I was looking forward to playing Earthworm Jim, which is a pretty fun game. And the scene is not very big. It's a computer basically, but they package this thing up, some wireless controllers and some NES controllers that are USB. It should be able to play perfectly fine on the machine. And I'm looking forward to playing that when it comes in. But until then, I've got the retro Retcon NES, and I've been going through some of the games. Recently, I've been playing a classic favorite, Mob Commando. It's fun. It's a little bit different. And I learned something new from the game that I never knew playing it as a young teenager. Um, the cart that has all the bunch of games on it has like all the Mega Man series, which I loved that as a kid, challenging. And then I've just kind of been keeping an eye on some other games. I've got some games coming in. I've got a couple of bases loaded games, part one and two. Played that as a rental. Um, I got Jaws coming and see another movie themed game. What makes a good game for me is one, it has to have hours of entertainment, hours of fun. Just keep playing it, and has a little bit of challenge. I'm not saying overly challenged to the point where I just want to throw the thing out the window, but has a little bit of challenge. Not to the point where I'm just going to pull the last little bit of hair out of my head to, complain about the game. Not the angry video game nerd. I'm just the space guy that loves to play a good game. And so Jaws is definitely on the list there that I'm waiting for that to come in. I ordered that the other day from the site that has a pretty good list of games, and the games I bought were under $5. So I got a whole bunch of games for under $5, which is fun because a lot of the games, they were games I played as a kid, and I don't know. I'm just, I guess I sound like I'm trying to reach for my youth again, but it is what it is, and I enjoy doing that arcade. My music update. Ooh, yeah, God. Uh, I have to admit, there's stuff growing on my application on my computer when it comes to my music thing. I had a whole concept for an album, and it just haven't had the the feels, if you will, to just dive back into making original music. Um, I hope I tap into it. I mean, I'm just 7 albums away from matching David Bowie's record of 27 albums. This if I finish this one album, it'll be my 20th, which when I think about it is wow, it's a lot of music. And speaking of which, if you're in the groove for some Spaceboy music, you can go to spaceboymusic.com. That's where my archive of stuff is there. The nice thing is everything is downloadable. There's no fees involved, no charges. All I ask is don't use it for commercial use. If you do want to use it for commercial use, please reach out to me. I'm willing to make some kind of arrangements. And at the end of the day, all I expect is get live. If you want to share it with somebody, that's cool too. Just let them know of um, the deal that you're making with the devil, and it's all good, man. I want the music to play forever, and hopefully you'll enjoy my music, and it's there for you to download and play. And there's a little bit of something for everyone. And I do original music too as well. So you might have heard at the beginning of the program that there will not be a show next week. That's because we'll be on with the lovely Solaris Blue Raven, and we're going to take that Saturday off. I believe the show is on the 7th. When is that going to be? Let's see here. The 7th is going to be on a Friday, and that I believe is on K Core. Before the show gets here, I'll put it and post it in the Space Cadets channel so that you know that that's where we'll be hanging out with. The lovely Solana will probably do a resurrection, and we'll both be chatting with Solaris. And it's always a good time when we talk to Solaris. And so, yeah, we'll expect all the Space Cadets to head that way and listen and have a good time with her and us. And it's always a good time when we're on K Core. So good times. So let's see here. I know I should be talking. Fill up that reservoir before it gets too silent. Yep, still looking, still looking. All right. We got anybody out there that wants to call? Here, hold on. We got a call coming in. Caller, can you hear me? Caller?
Hey,
Hey, I was just talking about you just a second ago.
did I hear you say that Spaceboy Music has free MP3s?
Yes, I did the commercial just a second ago.
I just wanted to say that's so cool, and that I'm a big fan of Spaceboy Music. I hope someday I get to meet him in person.
Well, I thought you went on a date with him and he hooked you up with a CD that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't know if he remembers that.
How can I?
Last time I talked to him, all he wanted to talk about was how he liked to creep on music when I was playing the keyboard.
Well, the reality is that you wouldn't play when I was in person. You,
Why would I play in front of an actual musician? That's just insane.
I'm not really much of a musician as much as I'm an entertainer.
You've had a background in music education, music theory. You've played almost every instrument known to humanity. You create music digitally and, with actual instruments. You are a freaking musician.
Well, that's nice that you think so.
Yeah. So I'm just in the next room smelling really good.
Do you want to bring up the fact that what I did for you?
Well, I had a birthday this last month in April, and you went through my wish list and got what I suspect was the most expensive item, which I didn't expect, and or I didn't prompt you, I didn't tell you anything, and it just happened to be a well-known, high-end name brand perfume.
Yeah, basically, I looked off your wish list and just said, "Oh, okay, I know she's brought this up before, and so let me get this for her."
Yeah. So you just got that today, and so I went and ran to take a shower so I would be worthy of the scent, right?
And do you feel you're worthy?
Well, I mean, I got clean so I could, spritz myself, and then after yesterday, I definitely feel worthy. I did a lot of things yesterday. I accomplished a lot of things, and I feel like this was my reward. Sorry, I'm eating yellow wafers
So
out
is
of the
this
box.
going to be how you call in and just so that people know that you're alive?
Yeah, I mean, I can hang up anytime.
So what's on your mind? I mean, one your horn about how awesome you've been.
I don't bother to explain it though.
Well, the chair that I talked about earlier program needed some assembly, and
So
so
the recliner chair.
yeah, and then I got this new scooter wheelchair thing. Needed some assembly, and needed.
Well, it needed both items needed hauling into the house, pulling out of the box, and then some setup or just some kind of familiarization. But the recliner came in two separate boxes. And one of those boxes was like, I don't know, am I exaggerating? 88 pounds,
80.
80 pounds. And the only thing I could do was just sort of lift it and then push it end over end over end in the house. That's the best I could do.
That's how I do it.
But I basically got both boxes in the house, tore it apart with my bare hands. Like you told me, pick the place where it's going to sit and just tear the box out off of it, around it. And once we did that and unpacked it, it was like so much easier. But it required assembly and it required electronics to hook up in the back, the lower back, and you couldn't have done that because
Yeah, I
these are
can't
so far down to the floor, right?
can't bend or get down on my knees.
And
Yes.
it required a flashlight, and so I had you read the instructions to me. It was piece of cake, really, honestly. Um, the mobility chair is a little bit more irritating. 45 pounds, my big old butt. I don't think that thing's only 45 pounds. So both those items came in one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I have been assembled. And previous to that, Thursday and Friday, I spent my workday, 8-hour workday, coding web stuff for work, and it was a non-stop marathon of code, copy, paste, upload, download, test, and I was on a tight deadline, which was today. It was an event being held virtually today, and it had to have an online art gallery, which means a bootstrap carousel.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to code that for 6 different pages, and it was ended up being close to 200 images. I had to upload and put the alt tags on and get the captions on and get the links, and I made it with 20 minutes to spare on Friday. I couldn't believe it, and the director was delighted. So I'm patting myself on the back for that, pat myself on for doing the manual labor. So I deserve to smell nice. So that's basically my justification right there.
Hmm. And you do smell nice.
I don't think you can smell this one in there, but yeah, you'll smell me later. You do know
So,
it's just me and you here, right?
right. That's fine. You know,
Okay.
people will probably listen to the replay, and nothing wrong with that. Um, I
I'm watching these guys do go through an abandoned asylum.
lucky you.
hmm If if you were
More
mobile and
mobile and
physically
physical.
fit,
Yeah,
and let's say it was 15 years ago, would you do the same thing?
I would
Would you
definitely,
abandon creepy places and snoop around?
I definitely would think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny you bring that because I thought about that the other day. I was watching this thing where they're going through an abandoned hospital,
hmm
and I was thinking, you know, in one way that's kind of cool, but if the Cobra light hit the fan, then I would be hard pressed to like shake my tail feathers to get out of there.
My concern about that is one, cost and security, if
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to be there, them getting you and getting arrested. And two, stalkers,
Right.
actual people who are crazy, maybe mentally stable, coming after you. I'm not, the paranormal aspect doesn't bother me. And then I've seen some of these where you have to worry about the wildlife too, like coyotes and things like that that come into these abandoned buildings and make cause it's a nice structure to have a little home in if you're a wild animal.
Right. You talked about that once with the what was the one with about the wolf?
That was Brennan
Mm-hmm.
Evangelista who hangs out with Dan Bell and does Another Dirty Room. He has his own channel. Um, I don't. Is it called Uncharted Travel? Where he's a Canadian. He's from Canada. He went to some abandoned building up there somewhere in Canada and did an overnight challenge by himself. Went to this abandoned two-story. I don't know if it used to be like a hospital or a school, but you could tell it had been abandoned for quite a while, right? So he explored during the daylight and he did all that. So the challenge was to stay overnight. So he was on a second floor, but I believe like the doors, the stairwell weren't there, or they weren't working, you couldn't close. So he goes into this room, sets up a tent inside this room, second floor, right? And like he's camping. And while he's in there, these I don't know if it's wolves or coyote come all the way up to where he is and start poking at his tent. So you can see this too. And that's what got him kind of on the map, spiraling.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I think he's supposed to be two nights. So next night he went up to the roof and Jimmy the door closed, so nothing could get up there with him. And it was in the winter and it was freezing cold, but he did it. I guess after you've seen dirty motel rooms that, maybe spirits left you at that point. What's a coyote in the face of creeping wolves in a basket?
Yeah, I've been watching this one guy that does these stealth camping, and he recently
What
bought.
the heck is stealth camping?
That's where you go in the middle of somewhere and you stealth camp. And in other words, like he recently, I was watching a video before I got on the air where he goes into this brush by a business park kind of area,
Oh,
industrial park.
so you sneak in and set up camp and you get out.
Mm-hmm. He stay the night, and he was talking about how he tries to set it up to where he can leave quickly because he had a thing where once where he set up a camp and there were these kids that were kind of close by, and so he had to get on out of there and because he didn't want to get caught by the cops because it wouldn't look good because he has a camera. He's an old
Mm-hmm.
guy, and
Yeah.
draw your own conclusions on that. So, but anyway, Solana, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and I appreciate you calling in
Mm-hmm.
out there from the universe and from our universe to yours. We hope you'll join us this coming week on Solaris Blue Ravens channel. And I'll post that information in the chat. So when you're ready to jump on that podcast and hear the dynamic duo talk to her, it'll be a good time. And so join us then. Talk